WKYT News at noon, the #1 midday news in Central Kentucky. I'm Kristen Kennedy.
And I'm Andrea Walker, filling in for Bill Bryant. We are tracking devastating flooding across Kentucky right now after rounds of heavy rain over the weekend.
Magoffin County is under a state of emergency. Take a look at this video from Salyersville. Roads are covered, cars are submerged. WKYT meteorologist Adam Burniston begins our first alert weather team coverage. He is live in Magoffin County.
Yeah, guys, I'm here right downtown Salyersville, one area that was hit very hard last night with that storm. On my drive in fact, there are several low-lying areas, as you just saw, that are still underwater, and many roads are still closed. But last night here in downtown, at least, while things are dry, last night it was a different story as major flooding took over. As you can see from this video shot last night through the overnight, it shows that water was covering roadways and even entered some buildings. At one point, as you mentioned, first responders had to evacuate nursing homes in town for safety reasons due to water continuing to rise. Now, fortunately, no one was hurt or injured during that time. But now today, several low-lying creeks, areas near streams near the Licking River are still flooded, including some homes and businesses.
Been a major ordeal. It still is. We still have water raising here in outside of Salyersville, which we have the cut through, and the city had water going through it from the tributaries, but it's all run down.
Now, Connolly tells me they're continuing to monitor the areas, especially rural areas, for any more stranded motorists that may try to drive through those remained closed roads. They're obviously advising against that. And some homeowners are even stuck in their homes because flooded roadways out of their house into town are completely blocked off, and Connolly tells me covered in some areas about a foot of water. So just a lot of recovery efforts here in Magoffin County, and a lot of water to get down to receding and lower around the area as well. For now, live in Salyersville, meteorologist Adam Burniston, back to you.
Adam, thank you. Flooding washed out a road in Floyd County. Look at this picture. Route 122 collapsed, nearly taking that car with it. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Firefighters are also rescuing people trapped in their homes. This is near Boyd Branch in Johnson County. There were a number of water rescues in the county overnight.
High water is also surrounding the courthouse in Paintsville. You can see a coroner's van and a military Humvee submerged by the water there. In Perry County, rain led to both mud and rock slides. You're looking at East Main Street in Hazard. It's one of several roads in the area still blocked this afternoon.
Moving now to southern Kentucky. This was the scene overnight in Casey County. You can see a large dumpster just floating down the street. This goes to show how just a few inches of water can have a devastating effect. WKYT's Phil Pendleton is live in Liberty, where one business owner is dealing with the aftermath of the flooding. Phil?
It is a devastating situation here in Liberty. Behind me is the IGA, a grocery store that 11 years ago dealt with 4 feet of water. This time it was 18 inches of water. Now, this whole shopping center was underwater. This entire area around me was underwater. On the other side of that is the Green River, but the Green River jumped its banks and went all the way over here to Highway 127, and in fact impacted all the businesses on the other side of that with 4 feet of water. Now, the water has receded, but the mud and the mess remains.
My heart hurts for the residents and businesses here in Liberty.
Because Rick Wesley has seen this before. Too many times in this small town. The Green River jumped its banks again Sunday, just like it did in 2010 and several times since. They say this kind of thing is only supposed to happen once every 100 or even 500 years, but now it's becoming too routine.
Yes, and we tried to prepare for that. We tried to get, a lot of our product up to the higher levels. All of our paper products and things like that, we tried to get up to where we wouldn't lose them. Our refrigeration stuff, we tried to raise that a little higher.
And Donna Rigna telling me because of what happened to her in 2010, she tried to prepare to get ready for it. Now, because this is happening far too frequent, the emergency management director says he's appealing to the state and federal government, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, to pleading with them to please do something about the Green River, maybe a levee, some kind of mitigation to prevent this from happening again, or at least making it less severe. In Casey County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Phil, thank you. First responders in Laurel County worked long hours to rescue people from high water. The London Laurel Rescue Squad used a raft to help a woman trapped in her car on Sally's Branch Road. She was stuck in deep floodwater. With help from the squad and the fire department, she is now safe. Powell County leaders declared a state of emergency because of flooding. From Stanton to Clay City, several roads are underwater right now. The judge executive says this flooding may end up being almost as bad as the county's worst flood of 1978.
Now check out this incredible video sent to us by Holly Robinson in Rockcastle County. She says they've been fighting flooding there for years. This is video of a sinkhole that opened up last year because of rain. Holly says it's about 24 feet deep, and when conditions are right, it can create a whirlpool like you just saw. Our Chelsea Jones is live in Rockcastle County right now, where several neighborhoods appear to be underwater. Chelsea?
Well, good afternoon to you. I am in Mount Vernon near Oceanfront View Lane, and it looks like a small lake is behind me. I mean, you can see several homes submerged in this flood water, and I want to give you an idea just how deep this water is. If you look right over here next to this yellow home, you see a air conditioning unit nearby. You see the water almost reaching to the top of it, and if you look further behind it, you see an SUV with the water coming up to the top of it. People who live in this area tell us the rain came down last night and the water kept rising. It rose so high, several families were forced to evacuate their homes. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the damage is permanent. Water still blocking doorways and sitting underneath window sills. Brentley Stevens feels lucky his house sits on top of a hill and escaped the water. He says it has never flooded like this. He feels for the families who have lost their homes.
I've been helping people all day, you know. Like earlier, somebody got stuck inside one of the roads because of how high the water was. It shut off their car, so I went in and pushed them out.
While some families may have lost their homes, others are finding it hard to get to where they live. You can see pools of water blocking both roadways that are leading into the subdivision, and it looks like some emergency management personnel have now arrived. For now, live in Rockcastle County, Chelsea Jones, WKYT.
All right, Chelsea, thank you so much. Downtown Beattyville is also underwater here at midday. Crews are using a dump truck to evacuate people from a trailer park. Lee County Emergency Management is calling today's flooding unprecedented.
Well, Kristen and Andrea, as you mentioned, this road just opened up, or at least this stretch of road just opened up. Don't see any water on it. Cars are moving along just fine, but you do notice there's a little bridge right up there, and I can tell you the water level underneath that bridge is still very, very high. But the road is drivable now, and that's a significant improvement. Now, I've been around Madison County this morning to a number of different roads where we had reports of high water, and for the most part, a lot of that water is starting to recede. We're starting to get back to being able to actually see the road underneath where that water was. I talked with officials at Madison County Emergency Management who told me that they also have crews out right now assessing all the areas that they had gotten reports about overnight. They did give me a number of roads that I could look into just to make sure and see if there is still water on those roads, such as 4 Mile and Hunter Lane, Catalpa Loop, and also out here on Union City Road. So far, the ones that I've been to, we've seen a lot of water starting to recede, not as much on the roadways, and in fact, they're starting to open up a number of those roads, so a bit more positive news here in Madison County. Now, as I mentioned, those places that I've been to have been improving all day long. We're hoping that with some more drier weather, those waters will continue to recede. Now, I will be speaking with emergency management officials coming up here shortly, and I'll have more updates on the state of Madison County coming up at WKYT at noon. For now, reporting live in Madison County, Jim Stratman, WKYT.
Yeah, guys, I'm here right downtown Salyersville, one area that was hit very hard last night with that storm. On my drive in fact, there are several low-lying areas, as you just saw, that are still underwater, and many roads are still closed. But last night here in downtown, at least, while things are dry, last night it was a different story as major flooding took over. As you can see from this video shot last night through the overnight, it shows that water was covering roadways and even entered some buildings. At one point, as you mentioned, first responders had to evacuate nursing homes in town for safety reasons due to water continuing to rise. Now, fortunately, no one was hurt or injured during that time. But now today, several low-lying creeks, areas near streams near the Licking River are still flooded, including some homes and businesses.
Been a major ordeal. It still is. We still have water raising here in outside of Salyersville, which we have the cut through, and the city had water going through it from the tributaries, but it's all run down.
Now, Connolly tells me they're continuing to monitor the areas, especially rural areas, for any more stranded motorists that may try to drive through those remained closed roads. They're obviously advising against that. And some homeowners are even stuck in their homes because flooded roadways out of their house into town are completely blocked off, and Connolly tells me covered in some areas about a foot of water. So just a lot of recovery efforts here in Magoffin County, and a lot of water to get down to receding and lower around the area as well. For now, live in Salyersville, meteorologist Adam Bernison, back to you.